Welcome to Best in Class. My name is AJ Madden. I'm a coach and consultant. I help individuals and organizations become best in class at what they do. I am excited to introduce Ganon Baker once again. We're doing a part two of a master class on greatness and leadership. We did part one already in the previous episode. Now we're jumping into leadership. Ganon Baker is regarded as one of the premier basketball player development coaches and speakers in the world. He pioneered the business in 2001 and has been doing it ever since. Ganon has a master's degree in kinesiology and was a professional basketball player in Iceland. Ganon has worked for Nike Player Development for 13 years. He is also a national keynote speaker and author. Ganon has trained over 300 professional players from the WNBA and NBA, including 24 Hall of Famers and world champions. He has also coached thousands of college, high school, and middle school level players. He has trained Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Grant Hill, Vince Carter, Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, and thousands of others. He brings an unmatched passion and knowledge of the game to his workouts. Ganon has coached and spoke in 48 states, 52 countries, and 6 continents. He has written and produced over 55 best-selling instructional videos and now provides keynote speeches on a variety of topics all over the world. Ganon is a family man. He's married to MJ, who is a very successful coach herself and is the proud father of KK, Kal-El, and ESPN. And today, Ganon is going to discuss with us. He's going to cover his 7 Hall of Fame virtues of leadership. Ganon Baker, welcome to Best in Class.
Hey Jay, thanks for having me, man. I mean, you're like family, man. So I always enjoy being around my brother from another mother, man. Let's get after it.
Honored, sir. Honored to hear that. You're like family as well. I'm proud and honored to call you a friend and mentor. You always teach me something, and you always leave me better than you found me in terms of my energy and my education. So I appreciate you. I also appreciate your t-shirt game, which we discussed
Yeah.
on the previous episode. Gannon has my all-time favorite t-shirt game. Always something positive. There's always something uplifting, some good message that we all need to hear. He walks the walk, he talks the talk, and he wears the shirts as well. Gannon, can you? We'll jump in right into the 7 virtues. I want to get right into it because there's so much gold here. And can you just tell us how you came up with these 7 virtues, these 7 Hall of Fame virtues of leadership?
Yeah, appreciate it, AJ. I think leaders run the world. It's not girls, Beyonce. I apologize. It's not the president of the United States. I think God put leaders on this earth to run the world. So I've had a chance to train players for 30 years. I've been doing it 24 as a private business. And I got gracious enough to be in front of Lebron, who's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, Kobe Bryant, Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen, Brittany Griner, some of the best players, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving, some of the best players, Vince Carter, my wall of fame back there. To be in front of these players because of Nike was truly an honor for me, and I thought I learned more from them than I did. And so I just started to be aware and notice and educate myself on how they talked, how they walked, how they behaved, their behavior. Like, what is a Hall of Famer? What does a great one behave like? What are his or her habits that I can take into my own life as a man, as a leader, as a husband, as a father, as a coach? And then once I understand it and I live it, make sure that I live it, how can I teach it to a teacher, a janitor, a CEO, a fireman, a pastor, somebody that leads people in their community? And so I came up with and there's 20 of them, AJ. It might change from talk to talk, but to today, these are my favorite 7, the magnificent 7 behaviors, virtues, if you will, that leaders use every day, whether it's an email, whether it's a meeting, whether it's a one-on-one conversation. They have the 3 H's of leadership. They hear, They heal, they help, they give solutions, and then they just hope that it pays off and continues to to bring value. They have hope in themselves that they can make a difference. So that's where I got it from, man. Just living my life and learning from the best of the best, learning from winners.
Mm. Oh, excellent story. I mean, just a brilliant move. Who you surrounded yourself with, and not just to be in the room with all these Hall of Fame athletes and coaches and billionaires and billion-dollar companies, but to also just be a sponge, which is absolutely a key habit, trait, mindset of Hall of Famers, the best of all time. They are relentless learners. They're relentlessly curious. I know you're an avid reader. You're constantly studying and learning, whether it's learning directly from these Hall of Famers in person or reading or watching. Ganon's one of the greatest students of the game I've ever met. Game of life, game of leadership,
Thank
game
you.
of business. It's always inspiring the effort he puts into learning and trying to get 1% better than yesterday, being that 1% warrior.
Yeah.
Now, we'll go right into the Hall of Fame seven virtues. And everyone who's listening, I want you to listen to this through all kinds of different leadership ears. I want you to listen to it through the ears of a parent, a manager of a business, a CEO, a police chief, a law enforcement leader, a military leader, a sports coach, right? You're in charge of an emergency room, any type of leadership position out there. These seven virtues, these Hall of Fame virtues, will apply to any and all of these. So you can take a lot away from it from multiple different disciplines. So let's get right into it. Number one, winning teams talk and touch. This is one of my favorite things you've ever said to me.
Thank you. And that's probably why it's number one. Winning teams talk and touch, winning families positively talk and touch, winning communities talk and touch, companies that have a lot of profit, right? That make a lot of has value, talk and touch. I got that from being around a guy named Steve Nash. He was two-time MVP, Hall of Famer, short, 6'3", Canadian, won scholarship. They booed him when he got drafted with Dallas. He overcame a lot of adversity. And one of the reasons is he played with so much joy. He averaged in a game. Now he averaged, a lot of assists, a lot of points. He won a lot of games, but he averaged about 275 plus touches and high fives. They track that. And research says the more positive talk and touches a team has, the higher chance of their winning percentage. Usually the championship teams have great body language. So basically, as an employee, as a leader, you got to dominate, you got to communicate if you want to be industry disruptors. It could be high-fiving the crossing guard if you're a teacher at school, instead of just nodding and give them a head nod. Go over there and give a touch. Go over there and share some of your joy, even with the people that you don't like, because it's not for them, it's for you. When you exercise joy, when you are positive, it just somehow keeps you out of the dungeon of despair, man. Your endorphins, your joy in your heart, man, your brain functions better when you're being a light. It might be high fives in the office. It might be an emoji at the end of an email. I've heard some companies do this. I know a lot of basketball teams do this. This is a basketball idea. Put a Gatorade cup on the desk of all the employees and have the employees, by the directions of the manager or CEO, direct your employees, your workers, to put one piece of paper. It might be a word, it might be a sentence, but it has to be a praise report, a positive thing that you can say about that coworker that you enjoy. Hey, I really enjoy your smile. Hey, I really enjoy your comments in the meeting. Hey, I love how you dress every day. It brightens my life. Man, I never see you have a bad day. You inspire me. Hey, I know you're struggling. You just lost your grandma. Anything I can do. It's called an assist, meaning you in the game of basketball, you pass the ball to a player and that player shoots it. You put that player, that teammate, in a good position to do something great. So the statistics honor that guy or female that passed it. You can do the same as a worker. So I just think that if you're working with the team, right, you got to touch. You got to touch. Winning teams Winning communities talk and touch.
And if anyone only takes away one thing from today, you will get a lot of what are called Baker bombs today. You will
Baker
get quite
bomb.
a few, as we did in the last episode, the episode on greatness. There were so many Baker bombs there. This talk and touch, I love how you tied in the family aspect of it. Winning families talk and touch. I love that you mentioned putting an emoji at the end of an email or a text message. That's genius. And now I will call it Ganon Baker's Gatorade game, the cups on the desk with the praise. I can just picture that being a real game changer for a lot of organizations, just to do that exercise of sharing some sincere and specific praise, catching people doing things right, even for a few minutes. I absolutely can see that uplifting a culture instantly. So I love that one. I will give you 100% credit for that. Ganon's Gatorade game. And I really mean that. And families could do that as well. I think any organization could use that.
Yeah.
Catch people doing things right. Offer sincere, specific praise. Give
Uh,
self-esteem.
AJ, let me interrupt before I lose my thought. I'm consulting with a multi-million-dollar ship broker in London. He works for a shipbroking company. He brokers ships carrying oil, and he got a couple gigs. He got a couple contracts because it's very competitive. Everybody's bidding, and he asked the company, why'd you pick me? And he's like, you know what? You always say kind regards at the end of your email, and nobody that we're dealing with does that. So I thought you were an easy, pleasant person to work with. Kind regards in his email. Like that's a touch. That's a positive talk. That's a touch. So that's why this guy had a multi-million-dollar contract, because he put kind regards on every email. I mean, this stuff is not fluff. It works. My wife puts a note. I make the lunches for our kids, and my wife puts a little note in there saying, "We love you. You are chosen. You're bound for greatness. It's going to be a great day. Win the day." Like that's not kindergarten. Like the stuff we learn in school, if we're aware and we make significance of it, and we get involved as leaders, as parents, that stuff helps in corporate America, man. That stuff helps in locker rooms. It's simple concept, but as the older we get, it's harder to do. Simple, not easy. So this is not fluff, man. This stuff can build a foundation for your success as a leader.
Oh, that's outstanding. What a great story. That you put kind regards in an email, got the business because of it. It was 2 words. It was positive. It was brief. I call it being brief and bright. Brief and bright, be brief and bright, just like your wife's doing with those notes. She's brief
Yeah.
and bright. It can only take a few seconds or, just to do that. That is such a beautiful story. And you've seen it, Gannon, at the highest levels of business work, and you've seen it at the highest levels of sport work. I know you've talked to me about Greg Popovich and him being bright and he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. So you've seen it again at the highest levels of sport, highest levels of business, being positive and polite in a few seconds can make all the difference in the world. The things we learn in kindergarten. And again, I'll keep us moving here because I want to get through all 6 for sure. And we have to get through all 6. They're that important. Number 2, demonstration is way more powerful than explanation. Again, I can't pick a favorite maybe, but this is excellent.
You know, it's what people caught, not as much as what they're taught, right? It's what they see, it's what they feel. John Wooden, great coach. I have his pyramid of success. Thank God I was able to meet him, touch him, spend a lunchtime with him before he passed on to heaven. And he always said, explanation is good teaching, but demonstration is the highest level of instruction, right? Most people, there's many different ways to learn, as there's many different ways that people want to be loved, and I think the biggest thing for people, especially for me, and what I've seen in my industry, is you got to show them. You can't as much tell them. You got to show them. And so for me, as a leader, you're a mirror, right? You're a mirror to your people. What you want them to do, they got to see in you. And that gets us to the next, lesson we'll talk about. You can't give away what you don't have. But if you're teaching toughness, they got to see that. And then if you don't, you praise right, you correct wrong. That's it. That's what you do. Now you might want to praise right first a few times, and then correct wrong, and then praise right a few more times. It's called the sandwich method. I know today, it used to be leaders must have a 2-to-1 positive to negative ratio. Now it's like 7-to-1. You got to have a 7 positive to 1 a negative relationship because of mental health. Well, I'm telling you, I can't do that. That's just not me. But I will go 3-to-1, AJ. I will go 3-to-1. But I just think that leadership is more modeling. If for some reason, if your troops, if your company's culture is not getting it, you got to look within. You got to look at your leaders, your managers, who's in charge, what are they modeling? Because I'm telling you, modeling equals motivating. If you model it right, man, they're going to be motivated right. Great, great lesson. Baker Bomb. Demonstration is more powerful than explanation. It's what is caught that's more powerful than what is taught. We can end the podcast right now. I'm firing my own self up, AJ. Let's just take those two and go lead the world to success.
Drop the mic, sir.
I'm kidding. There's so much more good stuff in here. Thank you for bringing out the best of me.
Honored as always, sir. It's motivation. Modeling is motivation. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, like if it's like this, man. When you ever seen Rocky?
Sure.
So Sylvester Stallone did such a great job acting like a fighter, training like a fighter. And the music, right? The John Williams, Bill Conti, right? Did such a great job with the music that pulled you in. That's modeling. Yo, I want to go be Rocky. I want to go, no, I didn't want to go be a fighter, but I wanted to go fight what I had to get better at, and a speaker, like as a leader, if you don't believe this, you're severely underestimating the power that God put in you. I believe, AJ, all right, maybe not as realistic, but I do believe that I can change somebody's life in an hour if I model it powerfully enough, and I'm well versed, and I'm well equipped, and I'm balanced, and I'm aware, and I've prepared, and I'm ready, and I live it, and I'm authentic. I believe that if somebody hears me speak, it can change their life in an hour. Now, I've been doing this 24 years. I can at least remember 2 letters, and there could be more. We have about 400 testimonies and praise reports we keep in a file, texts, emails, videos of people saying, man, you changed my life. You impacted me and never forgot it. But 2 of them, I remember I only talked to that organization, that gym, for an hour. Hey, you came and spoke at our camp, man. I never forgot it. It changed my life. I know there was a guy named Austin Lehman who spoke to our basketball camp when I was 12 years old. He changed my life. He spoke for 90 minutes. Changed my life. I went out and changed behavior. I'm like, yeah, this is what I got to do. Now, leaders have put seeds in me, no question. And Austin Lehman came and just brought the rain and started to blossom what was already in me. But that guy changed my life. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because like you said, you've done the push-ups, you've prepared, you've strived to live these 7, and I've known Ganon for a while, and he definitely lives these 7 in his life. So he walks the walk and talks the talk as well. He can walk it and then he can teach it as well. And that's crucial for all leaders. And that's, again, demonstration is way more powerful than explanation. I tell people, people don't do what we say, they do what they see if we're in a leadership position. They don't do what we say, they do what they see, whether it's if you're a parent and it's your kids, or you're the CEO and it's your team members. They do what they see. And quickly here, we want to get to number 3 here. How does this apply to parenting? Just real quick, Ganon, this principle.
Number 3, you can't give away what you don't possess.
At number two, still the demonstration. How does that
Oh,
apply to parenting?
gotcha. Well, it's like this. If you're trying to teach your kids discipline, right, in the sense of what they eat and how they exercise, and you live with them, well, you can't eat negative either. They're young. They're 10, they're 11, they're 14. You're 40, you're 50. You've been on earth longer. So they're looking at you on, oh, how do we live? Oh, well, mommy does it. It must be okay because that's my life source. So if you smoke, you can't talk about bad habits. If you're out of shape, you can't talk about, hey, we gotta sweat, we gotta work hard. And I see most parents do that. They talk about, hey, son, you got to control your emotions during the game, and they're the one yelling at the referee or they're yelling at the coach. Oh man, like you model what you want your kids to live by. They hate read. They're in school enough. They don't want to hear. They want to see. They want to feel. And so my son, he's only been playing basketball for 9 months, and he's the best player on his team. He made three travel teams. Now, again, we don't live in New York City or Indiana, but why is this kid so advanced after only 9 months? Because when I work him out, I do the drills with him. I show him. I guard him. Like I'm in it with him. I'm not in a chair. I don't have a whistle and a hat on. Like I'm working out with him. I model it. It's more of, hey, do this. Cal, this is how you do it. Cal, boom. So I'm in there physically sweating with them. I'm modeling. And when it comes to parenting, I mean, a disrespectful child, the parents enable that. I blame the parents for any problems the kid has with me because that's who they spend the most time with.
Mm, mm. Oh, that's powerful, sir. Number three, you can't give away what you don't possess. Winning, health, wisdom, etc.
Yeah. Like you can't lead what you don't have. You can't give away what you don't possess. So if you're not a winner, you can't teach winning. Yeah, you can memorize it and you can regurgitate it. It might influence somebody, but influence is temporary. Impact is eternal. And what I mean by that is they will they will do what you said for a little bit, but when pressure comes, when adversity comes, the moment that they don't feel like it anymore, they're not going to do it. That's why they call it social media influencers because it's temporary. That's why they call, hey, that coach is a great coach because he impacts. It's you never forget it. When you get impacted, right, by a punch, a rock, man, you got scars. Them scars never leave unless you have plastic surgery. You break a foot, you can see that crack, and you doctors know, oh, you got hurt there. It impacted you. So that's what I'm talking about. Unless you're teaching from weakness, true impact is when you master what you're teaching and it's part of your life. Now, do I teach from lead from weakness? Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I'll say that, hey, look, I'm talking to myself in this lesson here. I haven't mastered this. So I'm taught so you can do that, no question, but you can't do that on everything you teach. Because then there's no trust, there's no accountability. Basically, man, information giving is influence and application living is impact. The greatest leaders are the greatest impactors. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, Maya Moore, Manu Ginobili, Ray Allen, these players that I've been on the court with, they're great leaders on and off the court because they hold themselves at the highest standard first. They make sure, all right, what I'm teaching, I'm living, all right, now I can teach it. Now I can lead it because if you lead from the truth, you have nothing to fear. The truth fears no question. Mark Twain, Napoleon, what's Napoleon's last name? The French conqueror, not dynamite. Napoleon Bonaparte. He was a
Bonaparte,
French
sure.
Bonaparte, yes. So I got those from those two gentlemen. The truth fears no question. You live it, you take it, you tell it. And then when you go into situations, if there's adversity or controversy, and they can't question you. If you do, the truth of your living, the truth of your lesson backs you up. And there's no fear. Now you're teaching and leading with conviction and consistency and clarity. Right? That's a whole nother podcast, AJ, the 5 C's of elite communication. But the truth will allow you to really be strong in your impact, influence, impact. Obviously, at first it might be influence, but then it turns to impact because you keep bringing the truth. You show up every day getting after it, man. They can't question you. And then you don't question yourself. Is this the right thing to do? Hell yeah, it's the right thing to do. Do it. And that's what's missing in a lot of corporate America, public school systems, is people don't want to have hard conversations. They don't know how to. But you got this. It starts with possessing whatever you want to lead. If you possess it, you can lead it. If you don't possess it, you better leave it and go learn it. How about that? Leave it, learn it. Once you do, then go lead it. That's a new soundbite, AJ. Thank you, man, for bringing out the best in me.
There's a good clip. There's a good YouTube short right there. Yeah, it's right. I love your distinction between influence and impact. I've never heard it put that way, and I will remember that one for sure. There's a huge distinction there, and that's what separates the good leaders from the Hall of Famers, right? The great leaders.
Here's an example. Not everyone, but there are a few people out there that have 6, 7, 8 million followers. That's influence. Because you put that same person in a community, can they lead them to success? You put that same person and go mentor somebody, can they lead a person to success or a team to success? I don't know. I doubt it. Because I know some of these people in my industry, man, they got 7, 8 million followers. They can't coach a team, but they influence a lot of coaches online. Does that make sense?
Does. Clear distinction.
And I'm
And
not,
I think again,
yeah,
it separates the good from the Hall of Famers. Or the average from the Hall of Famers.
exactly.
Influence versus impact.
Exactly. Well said.
There's a lot of there's levels. There's levels. And Gannon, what Gannon's doing here is showing us the highest levels of leadership. He's elevating our thinking, our mindsets, habits, and strategies to the Hall of Fame level, the highest level. He's elevating us today in this conversation. And thank you. Was that KK on the assist there with the Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah, she's doing her homework in the background. She's like Napoleon Dynamite. She's being funny. She's got humor, which is awesome. Charisma, one of the C's of communication. You got to have a little charisma.
I appreciate it.
Great movie, fictional character. He didn't say that.
I appreciate her.
And here's what I was thinking too, check the retention rate of your company. If people are coming and going and looking for another job, I don't know, man. Are you impacting? Sometimes it's not realistic in some work environments. I get it. But to me, great coaches are the ones that help players become living trophies. Meaning, hey, you played for us for 4 years, we're going to win the trophy championship. But during the process of it, whether we win or not, I'm going to teach you how to be a positive woman or man in society, where you go win your family, where you go win at your purpose and job, and you go win in your community. You're doing positive stuff as a pillar, so to speak, in society. My wife, she's a great coach. She's won 75% of her games. She's been coaching in college for 16 years. That's a hell of a record. She gets offered Division I jobs every year. She's a head junior college coach at Division I JUCO. They were second in the country last year. They're fifth in the country this year. But her best stat, AJ, is in 16 years, nobody on her team has ever transferred. You understand?
Wow.
She was able to keep the players that weren't playing a lot from leaving because she impacted them as a mom that they didn't have, as a leader that they didn't have, as a role model. And she took care of them. She promised them, look, when you graduate here, I'll take care of you. I'll help you get a job. I'll help you get another scholarship to another university. Like she's gotten scholarships for all her players. Like that's impact. That's what I'm saying. That's how you measure it. Is the relationships that you keep, is the consistency, right, of your people.
What a great litmus test, as you just described it. Are you making an impact? And clearly your wife is. That's impressive. No transfers. And they're performing at the highest level of junior college. That's impressive. That's a heck of an impact story right there. That perfectly illustrates that point. Number 4, your words create your world. Love this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Leaders, that's our superpower, man. That's our, Superman had his cape. That's our cape. That's our X-ray vision. That's our web, Spider-Man. Like your words create your world. You got to trim off the fat of what you say. For example, if I told you Apple, all of a sudden that one word you tells a story. Just do it. Right? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. McDonald's. Right? Get after it. Grit. Greatness resides in toughness. Like there's our words are the bridge to people's success. It's their compass. Our tongue brings life, our tongue brings death. It can build, it can help somebody become better or bitter. So, as leaders, nobody wants to hear us talk all the time. So our meetings, our emails, our conversations have to be easy to digest. And if you want to motivate and inspire, right, and dig into a person, speak into them, draw out what's the best in them, then you got to be creative with your conversation. That's why I like the 3 H's. And that's why I got fired up about the, leave it, learn it, then go lead. Like we got to spit bars, AJ. People go watch movies. They watch, social media reels. They listen to music. Why? Because of, linguistic poetry, the language. It's a beautiful thing. I wasn't good at it at first. I stuttered. They called me Pete for repeat because I said everything twice. I stammered in front of people. I remember peeing in my corduroy pants, getting up and doing show and tell. I would get so nervous. So my mom and the music teacher threw me into, theater. Oh, great. How am I going to overcome the fear of speaking in front of people? I become an actor in the play. Oh, that makes sense. But I got repetitions. And as we talked about on one of the other podcasts, your repetitions get you to your reputation. And so now, people love my demonstration, but they also love my oration. They say, man, you're spitting bars because that's what people remember. And so many leaders go left and they go right and they're wordy and they're not very clear. I'll be real quick. The 5 C's of communication. You got to be clear. You got to be competent. Make sure you're saying it right. You got to be convicted when you say it. It's your tone. It's your body language. It's the way you ask questions. It's how you pause and let them speak. Don't interrupt. You got to have charisma. Tell stories, analogies, parables. Right? And then, all right, be consistent. Try to deliver your message that way every time.
Number 5, empathy is a skill set. Compassion is a superpower. Take away their stress and replace it with solutions.
Yeah, number 1, I think, empathy is taking the pain, right, that they feel, taking the mistakes, taking the frustration, taking the disappointment, taking the complaining, and putting it in your heart because you're human too. I always tell kids, when I say, hey, I've trained LeBron, they're like, oh, whoa. I'm like, look, man, he's a man. I was like, what's the difference? What's the similarities between you and LeBron? And they're all over the place. I was like, look, he has 24 hours in a day, so do you. He has red blood, and so do you. He's human. And so he struggles with the same thing that you do. We're all human. And so if I can not judge, but be curious. We talked about that yesterday about how they are going through a problem. Maybe I'm tough enough that I wouldn't worry about this, but you know what they do? So let me have empathy for them. Like that's a skill, that's a superpower, because a lot of times, man, your followers, they just want to be heard. They just want to be heard. And a lot of times I know Kevin Durant would do this. LeBron would do this. He would see people intimidated in the workout around him, players working out with him, and he would go over there and just ask them questions. And, he understood, they're a little starstruck. So he would go over there and have empathy for them. But if you have compassion, right? If you're able to take away their stress and solutions, then that's compassion. It's not, man, I feel your pain. Now let's figure it out. So compassion is, all right, having empathy, but if you can do it, help take away their stress. To me, that's one of the greatest things a leader can do is take away your followers' stress, put it on your back. I mean, I'm a Christian. That's what Jesus did. That's what the Avengers do. That's what our government tries to do. They try to take away our stress. I mean, during COVID, we got all those, right? PPP checks. I mean, that's what good leadership does is take away the stress and replace it with solutions. And to me, that's compassion. Easy to say, hard to do, but if leaders can do that, you'll have more retention. You'll have more productivity out of your workforce.
Well said, sir. I love your point about stress. I've only heard, two leaders talk about reducing stress of their people. One was Mark Cuban, billionaire, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and you, in terms of talking about the importance of reducing stress for others. And in my experience, the greatest leaders, it's a real separator. They do three things. One of them is they simplify. They make the complex simple.
Yeah.
Which you're doing today with our 7 Hall of Fame virtues. They simplify. That's the first S. Number two is self-esteem. They give self-esteem to others, which you've talked about in terms of talk and touch and a lot of other things. They give self-esteem to others. That's the second S. And the third is the stress. They reduce the unnecessary stress of your people. If you can do those three things, which this is in my experience in 20 plus years of studying leadership and practicing and teaching it, those things are a real separator and what Ganon would call Hall of Fame traits of leaders. And he's hit all three of them today already. The importance of these things. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got a lot to say, and man, you bring out the best in me, man. I wanted to add, in my experience, when I share my scars, right? When I point out to my troops, to my players, my followers, my limp, that connects, man. Like your strengths, people respect, but your weaknesses that you teach, right? People connect with, people relate to. Brene Brown talks about that. She's written many, many books about vulnerability. She talks about vulnerability breeds courage. So if you can be vulnerable and share, you know what? Me too. When I was in your position, even yesterday, I screwed up big time. Here's how I handle it. Like I love to see people with a limp. I can help people. And I tell them this, express yourself to me about your scars. Tell me how you feel. If I've disrespected you or you're feeling unsafe, please share that with me because we're only sick as our secrets. And a lot of times our secrets are pain and darkness and depression and scars that we just need to talk about or limps that we have. Like you see somebody with a limp, you see somebody that's been in a battle and they keep coming. Oh, that's a strong leader right there. But what do? We mess up. We have shame and guilt. We get bitter. We throw ourselves into unhealthy stuff, and you might not ever hear from us again. So I think that's one thing overall in general, the United States does, man, is that we have a lot of people that are vulnerable and have fallen, right? Most of us, we don't crucify them. We have sympathy and forgiveness and grace and mercy for them, and we try to raise them back up. And it brings out right, our losses that we've had. And so I just wanted to share that as leaders, it's good to be vulnerable. That helps your empathy become stronger and your compassion to become more connected.
Well said, sir. Well said. Number 6, the greatest leaders are the greatest mentors.
Yes. So what's the definition of a mentor? It's a man and a woman that tours your life. A mentor. They tour your life. And so if you decide this and have time for this, or manufacture this and create this in your organization, I think that's the highest level of leadership. A mentor is one-on-one, one-on-three. It's a small group. That's where true change occurs. That's where accountability, that's where specificity, so talking to somebody is fine, but then mentoring somebody is another level of leadership because it's intimate. You allow somebody to tour your life as much as they want you to. So if that hits you, then you got to be well versed holistically, like the great mentors, right? As you said, they read, they study, they view, they ask questions, they dive into, right? They regurgitate, they study it, they master it, like physically. You got to understand how the physical body works, health and wellness. Because there's a lot of multi-million-dollar doctors out there that are teaching and healing, but they're not healthy. So it's like, come on, man. There's a lot of great human specimens that played in the NBA and now they've passed on because they didn't take care of themselves afterwards. So if you have your health, you are a millionaire. Health and wellness is so important. So you got to be well versed on that, because that you may need to lead that lesson with some of your players mentally. I mean, every podcast I do with you, AJ, is about mental toughness and mental health and positive thinking. So you got to dive into that as a leader. What makes the mind work? How can you get the mind to a place where it needs to be? Emotion, right? Emotional maturity, emotional fitness. How do we get people to express their wisdom and express their joy? How do you express what's in here? And what's in here, that's emotion. If you choose to, I always choose to, because there is another life after this world spiritually. Like, what do you believe in? Who do you follow spiritually? Who's your maker? What book on life do you follow? Where are you going after you die? Heaven or hell? Or are you going to get you can reborn? What's the deal with the spirit? And then number 5 is socially. How are you using your superpower as a CEO, as a athlete, right, as a teacher, and impact your community away from what you do, away from your superpower? Like, how do you take your greatness, finances, resources, relationships, you as a resource, because you come in and you light up a room and you just are good for people? How do you take that away from your family, and go help your neighbor, go help your church, go help the home? Like, how do you help humans that you don't even know? It's your community. That's, to me, socially. What did LeBron James do? He opened up a school in Akron for people that he might not ever know. What did Ray Allen do? He opened up computer labs in the inner cities of Miami. Like, what does Manu Ginobili do? Well, he has a foundation to help poverty in Argentina with his wife. Like, that's socially. And then I don't do this unless I'm asked. I mentor some people, not many, on financially. I know I've done that before, but if that's your passion and people need help financially. And so those are the 6 things of holistic leadership that I think if you hire a mentor, if you push that mentorship initiative, then you got to do it holistically. And then, right, while you're mentoring them, if you're well versed in those 6 things, people tell on themselves, what do I teach? Just watch. People will tell on themselves. They'll tell you what they need. And you won't understand that until you get a lot of reps as a teacher. I didn't understand that when I started teaching kids at 18. I didn't understand that when I started coaching in college at 22. But after, since I'm 18, 51, you do the math, after, several decades, I can point out people and what they need pretty quickly
Mm.
because I got some life in me. I guess I'm Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm the Mandalorian, whatever. I'm the OG, old guy, old gangster, whatever. But oh yeah, yeah, you can't fool me anymore. You used to, not anymore. You got to help them win the day, man. You got to help them win the day, AJ, as a mentor.
Well said. And that's number seven, win the day of our seven Hall of Fame virtues. And
Last
you
one.
know, last one here, and try to find one ultra successful person who didn't have seek out mentorship and knowledge constantly. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James both did it with you. They did it in business and in basketball. So did Michael Jordan. They constantly sought knowledge, mentorship, coaches, teachers. Warren Buffett and Steve Jobs, two of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, constantly sought out mentors and teachers. It takes humility to ask for help, which John Spence talked about that last season. One of my favorite moments in last season. Ask for help, ask for feedback, ask for advice. Have the humility to do that, and then be grateful for what you receive and then pay it forward. Number seven, win the day.
Win the day. That's great that you talk about that. John Maxwell said that having a mentor is one of the, having a mentor is, I'm getting excited here, man, is the smartest thing you can do as a leader. Because the fact that you ask for help, now you're tough enough to take the punches, because the toughest thing to do is ask for help, is to seek criticism. It's the highest form, right, of coaching, of leading, is criticism, getting criticism, right? You love somebody, love on them in a critical way as well. And that's so win the day. It's about finding purpose. Like, what's your identity in the day? I get it. You're on vacation. Nothing, man. I'm just going to be like the feather in Forrest Gump at the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie, wherever the wind blows, that's where the feather's going. You got to have days like that. No question. I have days like that, right? But it can't be every day, or else people will know that you're not an impactor. You're just an influencer. Maybe you're not even an influencer, but you got to have identity in the day. You got to know, all right, what you got to do, who you are. That's who I am. So this is what I got to do. I'm a parent. I got to be a parent today, man. I'm a leader. I got to do this. I'm a coach, man. I got, right. I'm a human. I can't do this and this. It's illegal. I got to help you got it. And then another way to win the day is structure. All right. How you going to structure your day? And so I have t-shirts, as you know, win the day. If you attack each day in quarters, like a game, or whatever analogy you can provide in your life, it helps you overcome two things that will kill your dream and your destiny, maybe your life. This is why winning the day is important, because we all get bored and we all get tired. You agree?
Sure.
Among
Yes.
many things, right? Boredom and fatigue kills your passion. My brother was bored. He didn't put a seatbelt on. It killed him. He got in a car accident 2 hours later. So stuff like that. You get bored. You get tired on the court. These players, they could lose 20, $30 million with an injury at a summer workout because they were just bored. They weren't paying attention. They weren't focusing. They were tired. They forgot to stretch. You got to stretch, blow out an Achilles. You don't get that second contract. I mean, seriously. So winning the day is, all right, you got your morning. Excuse me, you wake up, right? what you do the first 10 minutes of when you wake up, research says really influences your day, right? Breakfast, like what are you doing? There's structure there. You have midday, noontime, afternoon, lunch. All right, man, I had a good morning. I'm gonna have a good afternoon. Or I sucked in the afternoon. All right, now you got evening. Got some time in the evening. You have a meal, you have relationship building, you have work, whatever. Everybody has different times of the day. And then the fourth one, right? Fourth quarter, bedtime. Bedtime. There's routines you got to get in, right? There's ways that you can maximize sleep, right? TV on, TV off. What are you putting in your head before you go to bed? Are you going to bed emotionally angry? Like all that. There's people that are goats in the sleep industry. Why? Because it's important. My maker, Jesus, he says rest. You have to rest every day. Rest. Why? What do the scientists say? 8 hours, 9 hours. Well, you got to know yourself. For me, AJ, I'm telling you, I need 9 hours, sometimes 10, man. Like that's, again, you sleep a lot. Now, all right, whatever. I sleep a lot, but I've been to 52 countries. I sleep a lot, but I got more energy than anybody has ever had in my industry, maybe the world. But I have passion, I have energy. I say and think things that help people's lives. Man, I impact mother sucker. So if you're gonna judge me, people say sleep is for broke people. Well, I ain't broke and I sleep. So it's some of this stuff is counterculture, man. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, hey, I only sleep 3 hours. That's great. Where's your fruit? Oh, I'm doing this. I'm peaceful. Cool. It works for you, not for me. Right? It's not leadership and success is not one size fits all. It's everybody's journey. And it has to be true. Right? If I'm sleeping 10 hours and my family sucks, then maybe I need to sleep 7 and spend another 3 with my family. You know what I mean? Like you got to see what works for you. And then once you do it, go win the day. And so think about this. A lot of people say, one day when I get a degree, I'm gonna do this. One day when I can be debt free. That's just like procrastination. One day when, WHEN. For me, it's no, man. If you want to get to where you want to go, if you want to get to your future quickly, it's numeral 1 day win. You just need to get 1 day wins. Just concentrate on man. How do I break this addiction? Tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and then do it again. I asked LeBron James, and maybe this is a great place to land the plane. I said, hey, man, you're a hell of a player. You're 22, rookie of the year, all NBA. This was early in his career at Cleveland. I said, hey, how do you become great? Because you've been great. You're going to be one of the greatest. He's like, once you get the answers to the test, once you figure out the recipe for success, and he didn't rhyme, I'm just ad-libbing, but he was like, once you figure it out, do it again. He said, greatness is consistency once you get the recipe. So you got to win the day. Got to win the day. Like that's how you overcome boredom, fatigue. Every day is a new day. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let's be glad in it. Like it's a great day. Yeah, but yesterday sucked. Okay, but today, man, today is a hurricane. All right, but it's not a hurricane inside. There's no hurricane in your mind or your heart. Like there's always a way you can win. Man, we're down 25. Yes, we are. But we got 7 minutes. I played on teams that there was no way we should have won. And we came back and win. And I played on teams where there's no way we should have lost. And the other team came back and beat us. So you got 24, baby. And that might be the next t-shirt, 24. It was my number, ironically, in college. It was Kobe Bryant's number, one of my all-time favorite players. And it's, for some reason, it's the number we have of hours in a day. To me, AJ, a great day is 24 wins. 24 wins. Get after it.
Ganon Baker, thank you, sir. Thank you for your knowledge, your energy, your friendship, your passion, what you bring to the world. You always leave everyone better than you found them. And thank you for the 7 Hall of Fame virtues of leadership that we can apply to every type of leadership imaginable, whether you're a parent, coach, teacher, CEO, business manager, law enforcement leader, they all apply. This is gold. Ganon, how do you serve organizations? You do keynote speeches, you do coaching, and where can people find you online?
Thank you. I serve organizations by helping them find solutions. Like, how can I help you? How can I get you to a win? Whether it be HR, whether it be self-development, whether it be culture. But I've been doing a lot the last 2 years, Zooms with individuals, with groups, with organizations all over the world. I had a great one with South America last year that I thoroughly enjoyed with an interpreter. I do live events. I bring a basketball. I do some illustrations with the ball to engage the audience. I try to give away Nikes and some money. But I talk about high performance, how high achievers can sustain it along with balance. I talk about how to set winning culture. I talk about leadership. I talk about career explorations for young people. And just how to get the most out of what God has given you in your life, self-development, professional development, to go out and fulfill your purpose, right? Purpose, but do it with an eternal energy and passion. Purpose. If I always tell people, man, if you have a passion backed up with a purpose, you're unstoppable. Unstoppable.
Mm.
So if you want to contact me, I'm all over social media, Ganon_Baker_ on my IG. I have website, Ganon Baker Basketball, GANONBAKER basketball.com/keynote speaking. If you Google me, GANONBAKER, I'm easy to find. I'm the only Ganon Baker in the world spelled that way. So would love to come impact your tribe and your team.
Oh, excellent, sir. Well, you've been trusted by 24 Hall of Fame athletes to mentor and teach, educate and energize, as well as Hall of Fame organizations as well, like Nike and the NBA and quite a few others. And so if you're looking for to improve your leadership, improve your performance, your culture, to win more as an organization, be it sport, business, law enforcement, a school, a university, Ganon's an exceptional choice. It'll be a great investment. You'll get 10 times your return on investment, as I have working with Ganon. Thanks for being here, sir. Thanks again for the energy and the education, the knowledge, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, AJ, man. Thanks for having me. That was a lot of fun.
Great to hear it, sir. Take care.